Hey, good morning, everybody. Thank you all for being here today. My name is Joshua Yamas. I'm a social studies teacher here, and today we're gathered today to celebrate, commemorate, and remember those individuals that lost their lives 22 years ago today on a bright September morning around this time in New York City. Two airplanes hit the World Trade Center and the Twin Towers. So today, this event is to honor and remember those individuals and those first responders that tragically gave their lives to keep us safe. And so just a reminder to all of us here, this is a very solemn event. This is an event that we're doing to remember these individuals. And so we ask that you keep your phones, don't use your phones, and make sure that you pay attention to this presentation. And so right now we're going to ask you all to please stand up. We're going to be doing the presentation of colors by our junior ROTC Navy here. So.
Hold. Left. Face. Preset. Colors.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible. Please remain standing for a moment in silence and until the color guard has exited.
Carry. Colors. Ready. Cut. Right. Face. Forward. Arch.
Thank you all. You may be seated. So once again today, 22 years ago, New York City, ordinary Americans stood up, went to work. Some of these ordinary Americans did not know it was going to be tragically their last day. This day carries a heavy memory for many of us. 2001, most of you, not a lot of you, if not all of you, were still not born yet at that time. And in September 11th, we said that we're never, ever going to forget this tragic event, ever. And we will always remember every single person that died, every single person that was involved. And it's very important for us to understand and learn about our history. Very important for us to analyze it, see what's going on, because after today, our country and our lives tragically changed. After this event, if you're going to travel, if you're going to go to an airplane, there's several steps you have to do before you get on board an airplane. And those steps were created out of response of this event right here. And so right now, I'm going to ask you all to please pay attention to the following video. It is 9/11 as the events unfolded. This video is a very, very emotional video. And once again, I want to thank you all for being here.
Somebody tried to call.
The cockpit is not answering their phone. Our number one has been staff, and our 5 has been staff.
I am going to call from Washington. I am in a situation where Americans learn the possible hijack.
What's going on there? The crash is erratic again. call. Very well. Ready, company. Eddie, are you there? Eddie? Eddie? The plane just what? 737?
What?
Like the World Trade Center. Who are you talking to? Oh, God. Oh, my God.
United 175, New York. We have some problems over here right now. We might have a hijack over here, two of them.
Jules, this is Ryan. Listen, on an airplane that's been hijacked. If things will go well, I'm going to do good. I just want you to know I absolutely love you. I want you to do good. So have a good time. Thanks to my parents and everybody. And I just totally love you. And I'll see you in Chester. Bye, Dave.
What are those people going to do? All the elevators are blocked out.
Oh my God. So both towers are now.
Okay, I got an aircraft out east of the White House. Hello?
Crystal City, just north of Crystal City.
Just to the north of your town.
Yeah, stop all departures.
I got this guy here. Don't put in that. God damn, I can't protect my NCA. United 93, that traffic 3 is 1 o'clock, 12 miles eastbound 370.
Negative contact, we're looking United 93. United 93, Cleveland, if you hear the center ident.
I got that bitch, you dog? You put it in the thing. You're out of all board. Get out of here!
Tuesday, 9:47 a.m.
Hi, baby, you have to listen to me carefully. I'm on a plane that's been hijacked. I'm on the plane. I'm calling from the plane. I want to tell you I love you. Please tell my children that I love them very much. And I'm so sorry, babe. I hope to be able to see your face again, baby. I love you. Bye.
We're 56865. We have, I believe it is a Boeing 757. Can you see him up there, sir?
That's confirmed. It looks like he's rocking his wings.
Roger.
He's rocking back and forth.
We're 56865. I advise you stay away from that aircraft. Go north as fast as you can.
United 93, have you got information on that yet?
Yeah, he's down.
He's down?
Yes.
When did he land?
He did not land.
Oh, he's down?
Yeah,
Down?
somewhere up northeast of Camp David.
Sean, it's me. I just want to let you know I love you, and I'm stuck in this building in New York. I just want to smoke, and we just wanted you to know that I love you always.
At number 2 World Trade Center, right? Lady and students in the building, live out here to the side and get the bed.
I'm gonna die, aren't I? No. Say I'm gonna die.
Ma'am, say your prayers.
Stop.
We're gonna think positive because you gotta help each other get off the floor.
I'm
Now,
gonna die. I know.
It says, time is passing, yet for the United States of America, there will no be forgetting September the 11th. We will remember every rescuer who died in honor. We will remember every family that lives in grief. We will remember the fire and ash, the last phone calls, the funerals of the children. Former President George W. Bush. And one of the things, guys, that we do, and especially in your history classes here, we have to go over this event. And we always show this video to our students because this is something that we rarely, we don't see it. And the adults here, your teachers, your administrators, our special guests that are here today as well, we saw this live in TV this morning. We were in school, we were at our workplaces, And they were showing these images and these scenes to us on TV. And so at that point, you had several individuals, teachers, even. I remember my teacher, at that point, she just stopped teaching at that point, and we had those box TVs in the corner of the room. We don't have those anymore, but we had those box TVs there, and they turned it on, and the first thing we saw were those images of the Twin Towers under attack, New York City under attack, people running, people just scared for their lives. It also affected us, Laredo, as a border city. We did receive some threats in our bridges as well. So we had to evacuate schools at that point, at that time as well. And those were 2 planes that we saw in the World Trade Center. We had a total of 4 airplanes that were hijacked, 2 of them at the World Trade Center, 1 of them at the Pentagon, which is where our military, all our military branches are there. And then the 4th plane, there's a lot of speculation to where that one was heading. A lot of them were saying it was going to go to the White House. A lot of them were saying it was going to go to the Capitol building. But at that point, Flight 93, a lot of Americans stood up against those hijackers, and they decided to take back control of the plane, and they could not take control back of the plane, so it landed in a field. And so this event happened 22 years ago. And like former President George W. Bush there said, we will never forget this event. This event brought Americans together. This event brought the entire world together. And that's why a lot of the things that we do as a country may not make sense to us, but our government at that point was weak. The government was being run by an airplane, literally an Air Force One. That's where our government was taking place into, because we didn't know what was going to happen next. And I will always remember getting released early from school and going home and seeing, seeing my grandmother there, seeing this event too, and she didn't know what was happening. So I had to explain that to her. They just explained that to us in school, so I had to explain what was happening to her. And so we were trying to stay safe in our houses. And so, again, we will always remember the tragic events of 9/11. So today, guys, we also have an opportunity to have a special guest who's going to speak to you all. He will be taking your questions as well. He's going to be talking about what he was doing on September 11, 2001, his experience, and everything else related to this event. So I have here our Webb County Fire Marshal, Mr. Felix Nunez. And so before I give him the microphone, I'd like to introduce you all to him again. So today, we have the privilege to have Webb County Fire Marshal Felix Nunez join us. Webb County Fire Marshal Nunez was born and raised in Laredo, Texas, and Nunez is committed to serve and protect the city of Laredo and Webb County. Marshal Nunez attended J.W. Nixon High School and chose to enlist with the United States Navy in 1976. Actively serving in the Navy from 1976 to 1980, he received his high school diploma in 1979 from St. Louis High School in Honolulu, Hawaii. In 1980, Marshal Nunez came back to his hometown and attended Laredo College. While taking classes at LC, he felt a need to do more for the community, so he joined the Laredo Fire Department in 1981. At the time, he became an EMT for Rescue Unit Number 2. Working his way up within the department, he became a fire inspector, fire investigator, and crime investigator. As a fire investigator, he had to attend the Laredo Police Academy, where he was commissioned as a peace officer in 1986. In 2011, Marshal Nunez joined the Webb County Fire Department as a volunteer firefighter. By the year of 2012, Marshal Nunez retired from the Laredo Fire Department as a captain. From 1983 to 2003, Marshal Nunez joined the Naval Reserve. During that time, Marshal Nunez was called to duty for several operations. He actively served in Operation Desert Shield, where he assisted in support of coastal refugees in Albania, a country in Southeast Europe. In 2013, Marshal Nunez started as a full-time employee at the Webb County Volunteer Fire Department as an assistant fire chief. In August 2022, Marshal Nunez was appointed to become the first ever Webb County Fire Marshal. He has served our community for over 40 years and vows to continue to do so as long as he can. Marshal Felix Nunez is proud and very blessed to have his wife, children, and grandchildren by his side to support all his endeavors. So guys, please help me give Marshal Nunez a great Wolfpack welcome.
Thank you. Good morning, Wolves. Let's try this again. Good morning. One more time. Come on, wake up. Well, anyways, thank you for the introduction. And yes, I've been first responder for a little bit over 40 years. Am I done? No, I'm not done. You know, I just started this new position a year ago. I was appointed by the Webb County Judge as the first ever Webb County Fire Marshal. So right now what's going on in my department is I'm building the department from the ground up. Right now I only have 2 inspectors and 1 secretary, but come in October I am planning to expand our staff. I need to pick up 2 more fire investigators or arson investigators, because I'm the only one assigned to that department right now that has the title of an arson investigator. Having said that, we're talking about 9/11. I got a little story I want to tell you about, well, a couple of them. One happened in 1989, somewhere in that area. I was already working on the fire prevention and arson division for the city of Laredo. And we picked up a case that was brought to us from the U.S. Customs and the Drug Enforcement Agency. They had this one individual that approached one of their informants, and that individual wanted to burn down all the stores in Laredo that said New York. Think about it. This is way before 2001, before 9/11. So we worked on that case for several months, trying to get the guy to commit on preparing and doing it. So we formed a little task force, DEA, Customs, PD, Laredo Arson, and some other entities that were involved in it. The day came after a couple of months of work where this individual actually hired an undercover officer from the U.S. Customs. And they proceeded to try and burn some of the stores in Laredo that said New York. So that particular night that it was going to take place, we didn't know which store was going to be hit first, because there were several stores downtown that said New York. I'm thinking maybe about 5. So we set up a sting on all these stores. We sat there for about 4 hours. It was in the night. And the people that were assigned to a store that was right across from La Posada downtown were the ones that cut the individual on the act. He instructed the informant how he was going to climb a wall, get on top of a building, drill a hole on the roof, had a can of gasoline and a hose with a spout on it, and he was supposed to pour the gasoline in there and light it. So that was going on, and the thing that we were all laughing about later after he was arrested was we asked the informant, hey, were you really going to light it up? He goes, no, we just went through the whole thing so we can catch the guy. And the they got him on video and they got him recorded, telling him exactly what he needed to do. So, and the informant had a baseball cap, and that's where the camera was and the speaker. So that was the way that we were able to arrest this individual. But like I said, it was way before 9/11. Those people were here in Laredo. They had been planning all this for years. Because I don't know if you remember this, you probably not, maybe you will. Prior to the World Trade Centers, they had tried it once before. And what they did, they put some explosives on the basement, but it ignited, exploded, but it didn't do that much damage. So they did their research and planned this, to the point where they were able to do destruction to the United States of America. Another part that a lot of people don't know is way before all this, years before all this, I'll throw a couple of names out there. Ayatollah Khomeini, Osama bin Laden, and who was the one in Iraq? Anybody know? Saddam Hussein? Well, anyways, just a little bit of old history in there. Some years in the past, we had an officer by the name of Oliver North. Oliver North was in charge of the Marine operations everywhere, in the south, north, east, and west. He knew bin Laden. And this is, like I said, it's probably not in the history books or not, but at one point, Oliver North wanted to eliminate Osama bin Laden. And they asked him, why do you want to take care of this guy? I'm not going to say the words, but he said, because that guy blank knows where I live. But this is way before 9/11. Just imagine if he would have carried out his plan of eliminating this person's, probably this 9/11 would not happen. Now, will it happen again? Never know. Are they out there? Yes. Are they in the United States? Yes. Does the military, CIA, and all that know that they're here? Yes. They know they're here. Technology it's so advanced now that they can track people like nothing. They can watch you from way up from the sky with satellites. But what happened back in 2001, September 11, maybe a couple of minutes passed, that's something that we will never forget. We lost a lot of first responders, men and women, in that attack, and they were doing what they were committed to do when they first joined the fire department or police. One of the things you do is you raise your hand and you take an oath to protect and serve. That's what those people were doing. As first responders, there's always a saying, why are these crazy people running into a building while everybody else is running out? Because we took that oath to protect and serve. And you gotta do what you gotta do. in order to save people, in order to protect people, you do the ultimate sacrifice once you raise that hand and you take that oath. How many times did I raise my hand? 3 times. When I joined the military, protect and serve. When I joined the fire department, raised my hand again. 1986, when I went to the Laredo Police Academy, raised my hand again, and I'm not done yet. You know, if I get another opportunity, besides the one I just took as Webb County Fire Marshal, you know, I'll go ahead and raise my hand again. Anytime you guys and girls have an opportunity to go beyond what you have accomplished, don't be afraid to raise your hand. Even here in school, you know, if they ask you to join this club in the school, band, ROTC, hey, raise your hand. Don't be afraid. Yeah. So, once again, 9/11, we will never, never, ever forget what happened. And hopefully you all, boys and girls, when you grow up, you'll still be doing something like this to remember all those people that perished in that attack. And like I said, will it happen again? Probably will. When? We don't know. Will it be New York again? Most likely. Why? Because that's where it's a more populated area. New York is a famous city, state. So, one of the last things I would like to say is, who is a first responder? First responder is a son, it's a brother, it's a sister, it's an uncle, it's a father, it's a grandfather, like me. You know, that's your first responders right there. Who knows, maybe 5 years from now, some of you will be raising your hand. You're military, police, border patrol, firefighter. Like I said, don't be afraid. Raise your hand. Go beyond what you can do. And don't retire. Like myself. I'm not ready. Over 40 years of service. My age, I am 66 years old. I still work out. Haven't been doing too much running because I've always was a jogger and a runner. My knees gave out. About a month ago, I had a full replacement on my right knee. I'm waiting for another 2 months so I can put on my tennis shoes and keep going. I will not stop. So, does anybody have any questions? None whatsoever. No? All right. Well, I was very honored to be invited for this ceremony here. And go Wolves.
Thank you so much, Marshal Nunez. And so, I actually do have a quick question. So, these events happened in New York City. What was the feel like here in Laredo? What were people doing here in Laredo?
When this happened, I was in my office. Our office was on Guadalupe Street. That was the main fire station. There was 6 of us in the arson division. Had one friend of mine, un compadre. He was an ex-Marine. I was outside with the regular firefighters from the station, and he comes out running. Compadre, what's going on? We're under attack. We're under attack, David. What do you mean we're under attack? So went inside the office, was watching TV. At that point, that's what we realized we were under attack. Like he mentioned earlier, they did close all the bridges for security reasons. I remember the president of the United States, George Bush, was actually at an elementary school doing a presentation when he got the news at what was going on. So calmly, I remember seeing on TV the clippings that they show. He calmly finished his presentation, and he walked out and took him to a secure area.
Guys, let's give him a round of applause. Thank you again, once again, for being here. Thank you. And like we said, we're never going to forget these events. And as we continue to live, Americans all across the nation today are doing these types of presentations. They just had the remembrance ceremony at the actual place where it happened. The family members go to New York City and they start placing roses. So they're very nice waterfalls to remember the victims of 9/11. And so right now, everybody is over there. Those affected people can go, put roses, lay wreaths. We have a wreath here also remembering those who lost their tragic lives. And like Marshall Nunez said, it is something that our first responders ran into those buildings, those ladders and those water hoses. They didn't reach all the way up there. So those two towers did come down. And like I said, we will always remember that event. And right now we have a small reflection. It's going to be read by one of our UIL students, Mia Brizuela. This is to honor and remember, again, those that lost their lives that day.
This date, 9/11, carries a heavy burden of memory. This day does not pass in calendar without a remembering. We remember the images of death and destruction, images that human eyes were never meant to see. We remember words our ears were never meant to hear, the tender last words of husbands and wives who would never embrace again. This date, 9/11, carries a heavy burden of memory. We imagine the feeling of emptiness in the arms of children who, at the end of the day, could not find their mom or dad for their welcome hug. This date, 9/11, carries a heavy burden of memory. We remember the heroism of the many that lost their lives in saving others. We grieve for them still, friends and strangers alike, along with their families and friends. This date, 9/11, carries a heavy burden of memory. And it is right that this day shall not pass from the memory. But today, in this prayer, along with the remembrance of profound loss, it also seems right that we give voice to our deep longing for peace. And with this prayer, commit ourselves to those actions that will draw us closer to what our most ancient and most holy desire, peace along all God's children. Thank you.
Thank you, Mia. And so I'm going to invite our band students here. I'm going to ask everybody to please stand up. Two of our band members will be performing taps, and they perform this as a final goodbye, as a remembrance for people that have lost their lives. Thank you. And so we have reached the conclusion of our program today. And so, like we continue to say throughout, please always remember the sacrifices that our first responders do, and always honor those people that lost their lives tragically today. And before we close off, we'd like to present to Marshal Nunez a token of our appreciation. So let's give him a round of applause again.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And so, before we get dismissed, y'all can take your seats, guys. Before we get dismissed, I'm going to ask the social studies teachers to come to the front, please, so that we can take a picture with Marshal Nunez. Hold on. And thank you all once again for being here. To our guests, to our public relations department, thank you all for being here as well. And guys, a round of applause to your social studies teachers. The best social studies department in Laredo, for sure. Best social studies department in Laredo.
One, two, three.
Thank you all once again, guys. Let's give a round of applause. And again, thank you all so very much. We're going to do a coordinated exit, guys, so please wait for instructions. Thank you all.